Okay, class, I am Mr. Akhmoudi, and we will be teaching today about how the population of the United States has changed over time and how it is becoming more diverse. This is the content statement 13 in our Ohio Standards for Education. So let's take a little deep dive into our population before we start looking into how it's actually changed some things such as racial, ethnic, and linguistic, and religious things in America. So if we go to our census.gov, where they try to keep track of the people of the United States, we can see the change of the population set from 1910 to 2020. In 1910, our population was 92 million and a little bit more, and now it's all the way up to 331 million people, which is makes us one of the largest countries in the entire world. And we can even see the percent change over the years and how much we've increased. And what I like to look at also is the Midwest, which is a region of the United States that Ohio is a part of. And it was 29 million in 1910, and now it's all the way up to 68 million. And if we go further down into the census, we can even see our home state of Ohio, which if I keep scrolling and maybe eventually find it, we'll get to it. So yeah, in 2020, our estimated population was about 12 million people, and in 1910 it was close to 5 million. And we can see the change, and it was growing pretty rapidly, and around the 80s, 90s, we have actually kind of decreased slowly, not decreased, but not increased as much. But some of that is because of how high our population has started to grow and has gotten. So it takes a lot more people to increase that percentage. So now that we see how much our population has grown, which is quite large numbers, we can even see how that's affected America's linguistics, for example. We can look at the languages again, and we can see many things and many graphs that tell us how it's actually changed. And the big changes are from 1980 to 2019, a spoken language other than English at home, the percent change has been 194%, which is ginormous, which means from 1980 it was 23 million all the way up to 44 million. And even the spoken English at home has slowly, it's increased, but at about a 28% change. So as our population has grown, our spoken language other than English has greatly increased. The top one being Spanish or Spanish Creole, and there's many others, many other language groups, which tells us that our diversity is actually increased as well, which is pretty cool to see. If you kind of look at all those numbers and you almost pause the video, you can see all these differences. With that being said, the only thing, it's also changed other things like religion. When we can go to this next site and we can see that as the years have gone, Christianity has greatly decreased. Not in a sense greatly, but it has slowly decreased. And that being our largest group, largest religious group, that is interesting to see. Our other religions has not so much increased, a little bit, and Christianity has decreased, which means religious unaffiliated has greatly increased. So the people now as a religion, people now have slowly stopped believing in religion and just even being affiliated with it as much as what it used to be. Even in the 1950s, according to other articles, 95% of people were Christians. So it slowly decreased, which tells us that maybe instead of seeing a Catholic church such as St. Anthony's, which is in excuse me, which is in Columbus Grove, Ohio, you might start seeing more things like the mosque in the metro area of Toledo, which is a Islamic place of religion and where they can go practice. So, and if you ever drive up to Toledo, you can see this. Yeah, which is pretty neat to see. I also have some pictures of one example of how there's been different people groups in America and in Ohio specifically. If you ever go to Columbus, Ohio, you can go to German Village, which has some great places to eat. But you can even see different style houses, most of them being brick. And this is a community that was largely from German descent, and they built their houses differently, which shows the history of people coming into America. And now it's like this community has still stayed there, which is pretty neat to see. We can even see like diversity indexes, and our diversity has slowly increased from 2010 to 2020. We can see that it was 54%, now it's 61%, meaning that if you were to take two different people from anywhere, the odds are there's a 61% chance that they will be a different religion, or not different religion, different race between the two.
With all that being said, I hope that you guys can see that the population of the United States has greatly influenced religion, culture, diversity, and even our linguistics. We clearly see that as our nation has developed and increased in population, Christianity has went down, for example, and just unaffiliation of religion has increased. Our Spanish-speaking people has greatly increased, and many others to a huge percentage. And you can, in fact, even see that on many road signs and maps and just general signs, even restaurant menus. Our diversity has greatly increased, and as you could see, German Village, that shows you that there was a group of people that lived together, and there's many others. That is just one example. And there's now even more mosque, and that has greatly increased. That's a whole other rabbit hole. So I hope that you can see all those changes through these graphs that have been seen in the video, and now you can kind of see and look at the stats and look at the graphs and see that it has changed with the population.